Elias corrected Naomi. But why? She was the one working. She was the one preparing. She was the one carrying responsibility on her shoulders. Meanwhile, Liora sat quietly near the teacher doing nothing that could be measured, nothing that could be praised. And yet, it was Naomi who received the correction. Does that seem fair to you? What if the thing you are most proud of in your faith is the very thing keeping you far from God? This story, preserved in the early scrolls of the Hill Country, hides a truth so uncomfortable that many prefer to skip over it. A truth that can completely change the way you live your faith today. Because Naomi is not just a woman from an ancient village. She is you. She is me. She is every soul who once confused serving God with belonging to God. What Elias said to Naomi that afternoon was not rejection. It was revelation. And what happened later when death visited that household proved that those words reshaped her forever. Stay until the end. Because the most important lesson about Naomi is only revealed after everything falls apart. Shall we begin? Several days' walk north of the capital, perched along the ridge of the Aram Hills, stood a modest stone house. It wasn't famous, it wasn't wealthy, but it was known. Known because its doors were always open. Known because travelers found rest there. Known because, on certain evenings, a wandering teacher named Elias would cross its threshold. 3 siblings lived there: Naomi, Liora, and their younger brother, Silvan, an ordinary family with ordinary rhythms. No one in that village realized it yet, but what would happen inside that house would redefine what devotion truly means. Naomi was the eldest, practical, reliable, strong. While Liora observed, Naomi organized. While Silvan asked questions, Naomi answered. While others paused, Naomi moved. But beneath the hospitality and steady routines lived something unspoken: pressure, expectation, a quiet burden with no name until Elias stepped inside. Because when the teacher entered that home, something happened. Something that exposed the heart, something that separated doing from being. And at the center of it all stood Naomi, the woman everyone admired, the woman no one suspected was drowning. Naomi was more than a hostess, more than a helper, more than the dependable one. She was a mirror of a struggle that has followed faithful people for generations. The battle between service and belonging. Her days began early. Before the sun climbed the hills, Naomi was already moving water drawn, floors swept, bread prepared. The house had to be ready. The teacher had to be honored. Imagine the scene. Late afternoon light through narrow windows, the scent of herbs and warm grain in the air. Naomi moving quickly, adjusting cushions, checking pots, her hands busy, her mind racing, her heart determined. Everything must be right. Because for Naomi, service was love, service was honor, service was proof. No one questioned her devotion. She was essential, tireless. If your faith has ever made you tired instead of alive, you already understand Naomi better than you think. But something invisible was happening inside her. What began as zeal slowly became weight. What started as devotion hardened into demand. Because when service becomes the only way to justify our place, something essential is lost. And Elias was about to name it. Not harshly, but truthfully. Because only love dares to correct. On the outside, Naomi was admirable. On the inside, she was exhausted. And the most dangerous part? She didn't know how to stop. She couldn't sit. She couldn't rest. She couldn't simply be. To pause felt irresponsible. To listen felt unproductive. This is where religious striving is born. From the belief that our worth before God depends on how much we do for Him. It's not faith, it's performance. How many times have you been too busy for God while doing things for God? Naomi served the teacher, but she wasn't hearing him. She honored him with activity, but missed his presence. And the hardest truth? She believed she was right. She believed Liora was lazy, irresponsible, unhelpful. Resentment grew. Frustration simmered. Though Elias sat in the same room, Naomi felt farther from him than ever. It is possible to be near the teacher and far from his heart. When Elias arrived that day, a choice appeared. Liora chose to sit. Naomi chose to serve. Two sisters, two responses. The record says Liora sat near the teacher, listening. Meanwhile, Naomi was distracted by much preparation. But the moment Naomi finally spoke, revealed something far more dangerous than exhaustion. Eventually, Naomi stopped working, not to rest, but to confront. "Teacher," she said, "does it not matter to you that my sister has left me alone? Tell her to help me." She didn't confess weariness. She accused. She tried to pull Elias into her frustration. This wasn't about dishes. It was about validation. And Elias responded. He spoke her name, Naomi, Naomi. What Elias said next would undo everything Naomi believed about devotion. "You are anxious and burdened by many things," he said, "but only one thing is necessary. Liora has chosen what is better." Silence. Naomi stood, frozen. Everything she thought was essential wasn't. Elias didn't condemn service. He exposed motivation. The issue wasn't work. It was restlessness. This is where many people misunderstand this story and miss the warning hidden inside it. No service replaces communion. Liora chose presence first. Naomi reversed the order. And when we reverse it, faith becomes heavy. Time passed. Then tragedy arrived. Silvan fell ill. The teacher delayed. Silvan died. When Elias returned, Naomi met him on the road. The real proof of Naomi's transformation didn't appear in peace, it appeared in loss. She didn't accuse. She said, "If you had been here, but even now, I trust." The anxious woman had learned peace. When Elias asked, "Do you believe?" Naomi answered with clarity, "Yes, I believe you are the one sent by God." This was no longer the same woman. Naomi is not remembered for correction alone. She is remembered for faith. Correction became liberation. This story is not asking whether you serve God. It's asking why. If the teacher entered your home today, what would he find? Someone anxious about many things, or someone focused on the one thing necessary? Because only those who rest in him truly recognize him. And that is the lesson Naomi learned. You don't need to do more. You need to be nearer. What will you choose today?